Hello, hello, hello. Crafty Chris here for another Scrap Your Scraps Thursday night. Sorry about that. Tonight I'm just doing a quick video. It's been a busy week, so I haven't had a chance to really pull a full hour or so out. But I am going to be using up some cut-offs from a previous project that I did on my silhouette, and I thought these were kind of cool looking shapes, so I wanted to see if I could put together some kind of a background for a card using these cool little multicolored shapes. So first I want to do a bit of a background, so I am going to use some spray oxides. And I've got purple and yellow, and I'm just going to use my first card. So, whoops, I forgot. It's been a while since I've done this. I need to protect things from the spray. Alrighty. Got a bit of water. I need to wipe down a few things that I just completely covered with ink. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Alrighty. So I'm going to start with my yellow, and I have to remember to clean off and I'm just going to spray down a little bit of water here, and I'm just going to start at the bottom, and I put some water blops on there, so sometimes when I put water blops I get this interesting undercoat happening. And I'm going to put a little more down. I usually have a piece of paper for this, so let me just grab a piece of paper. There we go. And you can see I'm just going to encapsulate my spray. There we are. So building up a nice color there. And I'm going to water that down. Just pick up the excess on a paper towel. I always reuse my paper towels in my junk journals. So I add color to my paper towels as I go on different projects. Okay, now I'm going to do the same with the purple. A little bit of a spray, protect. Ooh, it's heavy purple. That goes for that one, that goes for that one. And I'll just get another dauber base here. And I'm just going to come in from this side and smudge it down. Spray that down so I don't get that all over everything. And the nice thing about doing mixed media is I get these really great looking pieces of paper that get spray on them and lots of color, and they're lots of fun to work with on other projects. All right, I'm going to dry this up. All right, so now I've dried that out a little bit. I'm going to do a tiny bit of spray on top. Just some spritzing. There we go. And a little bit of spritzing with this. Whoops. Just a little too much. And we're going to let that dry off. Put that to the side for a minute. Clean up my space. There we go. And now a little bit of water to move things around a bit. Getting some action happening there. There we go. And I'm just patting it off because I'm impatient. There are times I might have allowed it to merge and smudge. Alrighty, now there's a couple of things that I was thinking I might do here. These guys are sort of these little pieces that can connect together to create an interesting pattern. So let me play with this a little bit. So I could have them side by side. With whatever's going on under here showing up in between. That's one way. And these guys I thought would be interesting layered, almost like, and I think I might do some, almost like, what is the word? Scales. So layering these guys like scales. One over top of the other. Something like this. So these were the kind of two ideas I had in terms of using. Now I can make these go longer and alternate them in different orientations. So this is kind of one orientation I can do. I can do the linear one that I had a minute ago, where they just kind of fit into each other perfectly. Actually, something like this. Or then there's also where they alternate. So we'll put them side by side. And then this will alternate. So instead of all the round bottoms being on the bottom, it can alternate back and forth. So there's a couple of variations that are kind of cool. I just have to decide which one to do. So I think what I'm going to start with is this guy over here. So let me sort of move this way. And it kind of stayed. All right, let's play with this just a little bit. Still quite a bit wet. Just going to dry this off. I'm doing it off screen just because I want to be able to do both sides. Now, if I were to do something like this, actually, maybe we'll start it this way. So if I build a layer of these guys, across the card, and they could also be waves. I could do it the other direction as well. So this is not very pretty because they're bouncing around a bit. My paper is a bit wet. But do you see what I'm getting here? There's a little bit of pattern happening. There we go. Created with these. And then if I could go over top, guess I have to go in the same direction. Something like this to hide that straight line effect. And I'm getting some kind of a pattern here. Now, I could open this up so that you see between the little circles, which I think I might do. Okay, I've already decided what I'm going to do. Always takes a little bit of time to sort that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little glue across, a little too much on that one. So I'm going to start this one down in this corner, like that. Try to keep it straight. And the second one, I'm going to cross over, but I'm going to allow some of the purple to show from behind. All right, so there's where we're at. And you can see that ink coming up underneath. Now, the trick is to alternate. So I think I'm going to stick this right at the edge. And let's keep moving along here. There we go. And of course, it'll look better when we trim off the excess on the ends. There we go. So that is looking pretty fun and funky. Now, at this point, do I want to now do and leave a center section here where I can put a sentiment? I think I'll do that. So I'm going to do the same thing but upside down. Here, let me trim this off so you can really get a good idea. There's just so many possibilities at this point. There we go. All right. I might use these little pieces somewhere. So let's just hang on to those. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing, but upside down. So this needs a a trim. All right, I'm not going to keep those little bitty bits. All right, there we go. It's a little crooked, but that's all right. Now, let's see. I want to put something across there. I have a little bit of gold paper. This might be cool. So I'm just going to trim a band for the top and the bottom. Very thin band just to keep everything straight. And let's see. Just maybe 1/4 inch. And trim that end off. All right, so these are scraps. More scraps. Or scraps for your scraps. So just going to put a band here. Beautiful. Love it. Is that enough glue? Yeah, a little bit more. There we go. And I'm just going to go across the top, try to make it straight as I can. And I realize my camera is crooked. There we go. All right. I'll let that off in a minute. And I'll get another piece on here. Just going to trim off this piece. Get the excess off. Whoops, put my hand under that. Not supposed to do that. I freaked somebody out when I did that before. Okay, so I am going to try and straighten this out a little bit. It's a bit wonky. There we go. Very carefully, trying not to cut my fingers. And that gives me a nice straight edge. And now I can go and put in my 1/4 inch. There we go. And hopefully that is similar to this one. Looks pretty good. Okay. Gonna glue this up. Make sure I put enough glue on it. Okay. And again, just at the top edge, trying to make that look even. There we go. Trim off. And now I have a nice place for a sentiment in the center. So there's one quick and easy card made with these little doodads. Now let's make one with these little doodads. And I want to organize these doodads so that I can pull the colors and alternate. So I think that's going to be my play over here. But first I'm going to be doing some spray. Seedless preserves. Or wilted violet. No, it's too much. So I think I'm going to go with I like those two shades. So I think I'm going to go with those. All right. And I usually keep my pads inside. There we go. Yep. Okay. Oh, one thing I want to do with this one is I'm going to give it a bit of a border. So I'm just going to kind of go, I'm eyeballing, but I'm going to kind of go 1/4 inch top to bottom. There we go. This is yellow tape, which is low tack. But you still have to be a little bit careful when you take it off, especially if your paper is wet. All right, so I'm leaving a frame around, and I'm going to just smudge. This is water reactive ink, it's distress ink. The two colors I'm using here are Seedless Preserves and Villainous Potion. What I see on the camera looks a little bit on the blue side, but they're very purple and reddy purple colors. Alrighty, so I've got that as my base. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a little bit of sprinkling. Let that water react a bit. Pat that off. And then I'm going to go back with my oxide and just spray in that a little bit, just some dotty dots. This one leaks a little bit. I have to make sure I clean that one up properly before I put it away. Okay, I'm going to add a little more water. It's not a little bit, that was a lot of water. Now this isn't mixed media paper, this is just regular cardstock, so this is going to have a totally different appearance. And we have this really interesting sort of white swoosh that's come behind here. I'm going to add just a little more. Seedless grapes on this bottom corner. Right at that edge. So it's very noticeably darker in this corner here. Okay. I can. And now I'm going to do the same thing at the top in the purple in the opposite corner. I have to be careful because it's quite wet there. Okay, there we go. So we have a little bit of scalloping happening around. Now, I always pull away from my paper, and as you can see, I ended up getting a little bit of paper because I went too fast. So holding your paper down and pulling away slowly. Yeah, not good. So what I should have done before I planned this whole thing out was to run the tape across my pants just to get it a little less tacky. This is pretty light tacky stuff, but with wet paper it's not going to work out so well. So I just got to go slow, very slow. There we go. A little bit of tears. All right. So I think that's going to tell me all right, so if I look at this, let me just dry it out a tiny bit more. So, lessons learned today. I am going to use mixed media paper the next time I do this, not just cardstock. And what else? And to remember to, what do I want to call that? Fluff off my tape. So put a little bit of my pant fabric on the tape so it's not too sticky. And your paper does roll up if you're using cardstock. Okay, that'll be good enough. There we go, that's going to be good enough. Look at how pretty that is. That's nice just as a background on its own, but that's not the purpose for today. Today is to play with these little bitty bits. All right, now I'm going to move this all in here. And how do I want to do this? So, I think I'll do this as a sideways card. Which side up and which side down? Like that or like that? I like that blob up there, so I think I'll do it across the bottom here. Alrighty, so get my glue, and the plan is to just put a couple of dots on these guys with that quick drying glue, and I think I'm going to go right to the bottom corner on this, even though there is a frame, because I'm not liking what happened with the paper and the tape. It kind of messed it up. So I'm going to cover the whole thing. This goes down. There we go. Actually, there we go. I'm not even gonna, should try to give it the same amount of space. This needs to go a little lower. There we go. And you see how that's building there? Give that a little bit of space. It doesn't take long. So you can see the blue that's underneath there, and you can see the transition. Now, if you wanted to make these stand out even more, I could have used some ink to put around each of the individual pieces. All right, what's next? One of these guys. All right. So this one I get to snip in half, because half of it is going to go here. Like so. And this is just a lucky coincidence. This is not what I planned. And the other half is going to go here. Oh, it's the same half. Okay, I'll have to keep that for another time. And I'm going to cut another one of these in half. All right, and this one is going to go in there like that. That's going to need a bit of trim. And this just needs a bit of trim. And there you have it. Look at how cool that is. So I can have it this way, I can have it this way, I can have it this way, I can have it that way. Now, do I feel like I need to do another top? What happens if I do another row? Let's see. Necessary. I do it this way, this way, this way. No, I like it just like this. So there is, I think I like it like this. There's the card, sentiment goes on the center, and away we go. So we've got these two done, and I'm going to do one more because I can. And what background am I going to use this time? I think I'm going to go for greens because it's on the opposite side of the color wheel. Peeled paint and those two gross greens. No! Crushed olive. Yeah, those ones. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do a little bit. I'm going to spray a little bit of rustic wilderness over top of that. Okay. There goes that one. Whoop. There we go. All right. So now, move those. Let's put these guys back in their order. Okay. Start with light and then move to dark. There we go. Alrighty. So again, just going to put some dots. Not being very careful about the dots. I'm going to pull away some of them. Let it dry. Oh, maybe I could use a little more at the bottom there. Pull up some of that color. Let this dry. Pull out my paper. And check out my oxide. This one is pine, rustic pine. And I'm just going to do a little spray. Maybe did a little too much spray. Oh well, just never know about these things, right? And this paper is super absorbent, so nothing is coming out of it. So let's just do a little bit of this. This is another way to do it. There we go. And wipe that down. I think I still need a little more of this. There we go. There we go. There we go. Just a little bit more was needed. And now we're going to dry this all off. And this is where you can start to see the effects of the oxide and its kind of chalkiness, and then the prior water that I put on the ink when it was just ink alone. You can see that come up through. I'll show you in detail in a moment. And it's really just playing with your ink and doing little test pages and messing around and seeing what happens, because the joy of mixed media is not knowing what is going to happen. All right, so I just want to point out a few things. So you can see this white haze here. That was previous spraying we did on the existing ink that was there. You can see it kind of pop its head up in and around areas. And then this chalkiness here is the oxide ink itself. Okay. And then of course we have the darker splatters, which were when I put it on the paper and just kind of mashed it in. So you can get a bunch of different things going on. Now, this is still quite wet, so let me dry this a little bit longer. All right, that's better. Now I have to decide what I want to do. I think I'm going this way. And now I want to play around with what I'm going to do with these guys. So if we start our pattern, I could start dark along the bottom, and I'm going to overlap them just a little bit. And then we can go to the next darkest, overlapping those. Now this is really looking like scales. And then the next darkest, let's see how this does. So am I liking that? I think I am liking this. So I think I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to go up as, maybe I'll do 3. Maybe I'll do it in 2s and see how far I can get up to the top, because I can always add another row if I need to. Alrighty. So again, with our glue, starting in the bottom corner, right at the edge. 1, and 2. There we go. Trying to keep them together. Then I think I better do it on the backs of these guys. Okay, so there we are. That's looking all right. Now, back here. Here, I like that. It's very scaly looking. Now, I wonder if I should do one going down. Just wondering about a little bit of balance on the other side. Okay. So I'm just going to put 2 here. Oops. So I'm just going to put 1 here. And 1 here. To finish that off. There we go. Okay. And then I think I want to do 1 here. Oops. Two. And 3. And 4. Okay. All right. I think I'm done with that. And shows a little more of the actual background. I think I like it. This way. Okay, so now I've decided what I'm going to do here is just go in with a black pen and highlight each of those scaly bits. Just to give it more depth. There we are, just to give it some depth, and I think I will teardrop this. There we go. Give it a little bit of texture, and I might do some doodling in the background, maybe along the edge here. Just going to draw a straight line, top and bottom. And just have it poke through where it needs to poke through. There we go. Kind of finish it off a little bit. You can do that to the others as well. And add some more dimension to it. But basically, this is where we are at. And I'm just going to raise my camera a little bit so you can see it a bit better. So those are the 3 that we did today. Just using our little bits and pieces out of our scrap bin. If you like this video and would like to share it with your friends, please feel free to do so. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next week.